Let's talk about India versus West Indies, a very, very eventful series that, yes, the result at the end was 4-1 to India, but there was one match where Oben McCoy went absolute ballistic, took 6 for 17 in 4 overs. I didn't know he could bowl that fast. I just knew he could bowl a lot of change of pace, but the pace he's developed, he's hitting 150 like pretty consistently in that game. So extremely impressed by that. But India pulled out a very non aggressive team. And I'll explain what I mean by non aggressive. Basically, it's not their A team. It's not their A team by any stretch of the imagination, at least in my opinion, because they kept changing pretty much every match. I looked at the stats, and the maximum number of matches a player played, I think, was like three out of the five. So no one player played all the matches, maybe apart from like the captain and like someone else, maybe Rishabh Pant. I can't completely remember, but I think Sanju Samson played a game as well. You had what's the name? Surya Kumar Yadav doing fantastic things. Number two in the world in T20 rankings, something that I don't want to go into because there's a lot of discussion around how did Surya Kumar Yadav after like 10 matches come to number two while Rizwan scoring at an average of whatever with a strike rate or whatever over the course of a year and a half not become number one. But I just want to say India didn't put out their best team and they still won quite easily. There were close games, but India pulled it out in every occasion apart from the one where Oben McCoy went crazy. So, what's your assessment of the series?
Well, yeah, to be honest, Jazz, a very interesting series for India at least. 4-1 winners, very
Mm.
comfortable in the end. Yes, there was that little blip in the road. Obed McCoy, 6 for 17, record breaking figures. The best ever by West Indies bowler in T20I cricket. Just had to give that a mention. Was a phenomenal display. But then in the 4 T20I, again, this is a prime example of the chaotic nature of the format itself. He goes for 66 runs.
Yeah.
So again, India did get the revenge as the series went on. This was a very good series for India. I know what you mean in terms of it's not the A team, and I think West Indies fans, to be completely honest, can say the exact same thing about their team. They are missing key players. They always do for bilateral series. We know that's how it works, as unfortunate as it is. But I think for India, they can take some real positives away from this series. Arshdeep Singh being one of them. Big fan of him. Left arm seam bowler from the Punjab Kings. He's got a very, very bright future ahead of him. Hardik Pandya as well, not with the bat in hand, but with the ball in hand. He only took 2 wickets in this series, but an economy rate of 6 runs per over. In a high scoring series, that's very impressive. And I mentioned it before, but the balance that Hardik Pandya, the all rounder, provides,
Yeah.
as opposed to Hardik Pandya, the batter, is tremendous. And that will turn India into a bona fide competitor in this year's T20 World Cup. Another massive positive is Rishabh Pant. How many times over the past year have we mentioned about his strike rate for India in T20 cricket? Not exceeding 120. In this series, 140 plus, bordering on 150. So, again, a lot of positives, and one more for the men in blue, which I've got to mention as a spin bowler, Ravi Bishnoi. Axar Patel as well in that final T20I, scything through the West Indies. So, a really good series for India. A disappointing series for the West Indies. I think they could have been a lot more competitive, at least with the ball, and to be honest, at times with the bat in hand. But yeah, that is a signal, a sign, an omen of intent for India heading into the Asia Cup and, of course, the T20 World Cup later in the year.
Yeah, India was sensational. Like, there's no doubt how good they were throughout this series. And change of personnel doesn't matter. Job needs to be done. They do it. Right. You mentioned Akshar Patel. You mentioned Ravi Bishnoi. Right. Arshdeep Singh. I remember him in the IPL. I was like, yeah, he's good. He's all right. He's pretty good. Then it started to build up from IPL 2020. He was like, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's getting better. And now he's playing for India. And his economy rate is just outstanding. I can't think of any other Indian bowler, pace bowler, who's burst onto the scene with an economy rate like that, apart from Jasprit Bumrah back in the day when he started. The way Arshdeep Singh has taken to T20 cricket in particular is like a fish to water. That's what they say. It's great. He looks great. He looks confident. And you mentioned the left arm angle. I didn't initially put him in my potential Asia Cup squad, and now after seeing this series, I changed my mind because he was just outstanding, and the player I initially thought of as being one of the mainstays of the Indian bowling lineup is someone who's replacing Jasprit Bumrah in the Asia Cup squad. Yes, we're going to talk about it shortly, but in this particular video, I want to address the fact that India has Bumrah, India has players like Prasidh Krishna, Avesh Khan, they've got Umran Malik, right? But Arshdeep Singh, a bowler who's bowling 80 miles an hour, change of pace, left arm angle, just able to bamboozle batsmen. Even if he doesn't take a wicket, he just lets them get stuck in the crease and doesn't allow them to get any runs. And it's just fantastic to see that. You mentioned Bishnoi and Axar Patel. Yuzvendra Chahal, the few games he played, still looks good. Kuldeep Yadav coming in and picking up what, 3 wickets or something, 4 wickets in
But
the
he's not
last.
in the Asia Cup squad, is he?
He's not. He's not. And the reason is because of the depth that India has right now. They're like,
Hmm.
what's the point? And even though I know you're a fan, and personally, if you're playing the UAE, in my head, you go in with as many spinners as you possibly can in your squad. And I know you would do the same,
All
but I get
11.
it. All 11. They'll be spinners like Sachin Tendulkar, he got loads of wickets too, so can't really doubt that. But definitely for the UAE, it's a good shout that they've gone in with a few spinners, but just unfortunate to see some players that I wanted in the squad, they weren't there. But yeah, in terms of the India West Indies series, I just want to ask you one question. What was your moment of the series? Because this was a tough one. Personally, I thought that 76 from Surya Kumar Yadav just made me fall in love with the way he bats again,
Hmm.
because there's been a competition in my head about Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar Yadav. In my head, you can't have both playing for India in the same team at the same time, because I find it difficult to kind of slot both of them in. Sorry, but Surya Kumar Yadav, the way he played, I was just like, damn man, he's just amazing. Plus, he jumped up in the ranking, so he's not going to get dropped in any way, shape, or form. Shreyas Iyer, though, I think he's going to find it difficult to try and fit himself into India's T20 setup, even though I think for the Test and ODI, maybe he's a very, very good option. So yeah, moment of the series for yourself.
That is a ridiculously hard question because we have seen record-breaking bowling figures there.
Yeah.
From Obed McCoy, 6 for 17. I mean, it's remarkable. Can I just say as well, this won't be my moment, but you mentioned about Surya Kumar Yadav, and I alluded to earlier the word aesthetically pleasing.
Hmm.
That knock was very reminiscent of his century against England earlier this summer, which did come in a losing cause, unfortunately, but that boy can bat. He really can. He's very, very pleasing on the eye. Is Surya Kumar Yadav, so that would be an honourable mention. But my pick of moment of the series actually won't be during a game, it'll be after one. After the fourth T20I in Lauderhill. I'm not sure if you've seen this video, Asjad. It was doing the rounds on Twitter. But Rohit Sharma came out and he shook the hands and did high fives of the entire Indian crowd, which had made the journey to the
Wow.
USA after the
Wow.
game. And I just thought that was such a brilliant moment. I've looked on social media, I've looked on Twitter, Instagram. There were people coming from California, Dallas, in Texas, Pennsylvania, New York. People had traveled hours to come and support India on US soil. And I just thought the captain of the Indian side, an icon of world cricket, taking the time to show the appreciation for fans who have travelled hours to come and support that team. I thought that was brilliant. That is the personification of the spirit of the game. That's why I love cricket so much. Is because of moments like that. So my moment of the series, aside from Obed McCoy's 6 for 17, which would be my standout performance, but the moment of the series, which really captured my imagination and would have meant the absolute world to all of those fans, would be that particular moment from Rohit Sharma.
That's actually really good because that that warms your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That the captain of India going through, because he's showing them the appreciation that they genuinely deserve. They came all the way to see them play cricket, be be wherever from, but I don't know what happened to my voice. Be wherever from, right? But showing that appreciation is definitely a moment for sure. I didn't see this moment, and while you were talking, you mentioned your performance of the series and moment. So I'm going to separate it out. My moment of the series was a front foot punch by Surya Kumar Yadav for six over cover. It just blew my mind how he hit that. It reminded me of, I don't know if you remember, uh, Jacques Callis. The first time I saw Jacques Callis come down the track to a slightly quickish bowler and smash him inside out for six over cover was one of my favorite shots in my life that I'd seen. And then this, I don't know where it came from. He's just standing there, plop, six goes, I don't know, 80 odd meters or something. That was a shot and a half. So for me, that becomes the moment of the series. But definitely, Surya Kumar Yadav, absolute beast, and Rohit Sharma, what a gesture that was.